Yes. Okay. I don't remember the line. I have the page, but I don't know the line.
Yes, it has mentioned Cupid. If you see the long paragraph
Yes.
before the end,
Mhm.
this is a long
Yes.
sentence.
When he's remembering when he's talking about the kid, the young.
Yes,
Yes. Yes. So, if I had pink cheeks and Cupid's bow lips, I might be able to
Do you
go
like
through
swimming?
life.
Wait a minute, because
Yes.
in one moment they say, I read it. Do you like swimming? And from there, how many paragraphs?
No.
Or
Do you
more or
like
less?
swimming? Do you like swimming? Is we are here in the same two paragraphs before. Do you like swimming?
Before
Yes.
you like swimming. Oh, yes. It's a very, very long paragraph.
Yes, and near the end, he
Through the
says,
haze.
if I had pink cheeks and Cupid's bow lips, I might be able to go through life on my blue eyes. And he pictured the kid, a fat, cherubic old man, stepping out of a white limousine the way people do in the movies, and looking about him with those same mild blue eyes. Because you remember that this kid, as they call it, kid, he wanted to be a cinema producer or a cinema maker.
Yes.
when the war finished, no, and he wanted to escape, to desert, because he said that he could go to Italy and work in Italy away from the war, no, and that he was going to learn Italian to be able to work there, no? So Andrews is imagining the situation of this young boy appearing, yes, coming from a white limousine, becoming a very famous film producer or film director, no? But soon he forgot everything in the agony of the heavy cement bags bearing down on his back and hips. Remember that they are moving the cement bags from the truck to the place where they are going to build this stadium. You remember the stadium that America gave as a present to France, no? So the boy is the one who asks, do you like swimming, Skinny? Skinny is Andrews because he's so thin. Yes, I'd give a lot to get some of this cement dust off me. Yes, again, the dust, no, this dust is like a topic.
Yes. I have to read something. I'll be back soon.
Okay.
In the phone, something.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I once won a boys' swimming race at Coney, said the kid. Andrews did not answer. Were you in the swimming team or anything like that, Skinny, when you went to school? No, it would be wonderful to be in the water, though. I used to swim way out in Chesapeake Bay at night when the water was phosphorescent. And so they are talking about swimming. And for Andrews, there is no connection. Yes, it's simply a conversation. But now we will see why the kid is interested in this, no? Then I could carry their bloody bags two at a time if I wanted to. A feller gets so goddamn mad, that's all. So goddamn mad, don't he, Skinny? Because they are talking about the work, the heavy work they are being obliged to do. Remember that they are prisoners, yes? Andrews nodded. After the first 2 or 3 bags Andrews carried in the afternoon, it seemed as if everyone would be the last he could possibly lift. His back and thighs throbbed with exhaustion. His face and the tips of his fingers felt raw from the biting cement dust. When the river began to grow purple with evening, he noticed that 2 civilians, young men with buff-colored coats and canes, were watching the gang at work. They say there's newspaper reporters writing up how fast the army's being demobilized, said one man in an odd voice. They come to the right place. Tell them we are leaving for home now, loading our barracks bags on the steamer. So you see with the irony, yes, because one thing was what the newspapers published, and another thing was reality, yes. They were publishing that the troops were being demobilized and that they were sent back to America, but these soldiers are there, no, like prisoners working. We are the guys does the light work, Blackjack Pershing's own pet labor battalion. I sent you the information about this man, Blackjack, the one they called Blackjack.
Yes.
A general in the army, no? They like us so well, they just can't let us go, no? So again, the irony, no? They like us so well that they can't let us go. Damn jackasses, muttered Hogenbach. This is the man who is so angry, no? As with his eyes to the ground, he passed Andrews. I could tell them some things they'd make their goddamn ears buzz. Why don't you? What the hell's the use? I ain't got the education to talk up to guys like that. The question of education, I don't know if you've noticed, but it comes up all the time, yes? And the reference to Andrews' education, the difference that Andrews makes, no? And all the others feel that they lack education and that they cannot talk to the reporters, they cannot talk to the officers. So, come on, fellas, we've got a hell of a lot of this cement to get in before it rains. The sooner we get it in, the sooner we get off. Listen to that bastard. Ain't he just too sweet for pie when there's company, muttered Hogenbach, yes? Because it was easy to say hurry up, because he was not doing the effort. The kid brushed past Andrews without looking at him. Do what I do, Skinny, he said. Andrews did not turn round, but his heart started thumping very fast. A dull sort of terror took possession of him. He tried desperately to summon his willpower to keep from cringing, but he kept remembering the way the room had swung round when the MP had hit him, and heard again the cold voice of the lieutenant saying, "One of you men teach him how to salute." Time dragged out interminably. At last, coming back to the edge of the wharf, Andrews saw that there were no more bags in the barge. He sat down on the plank, too exhausted to think. Blue-gray dusk was closing down on everything. The Passy Bridge stood out, purple against the great crimson afterglow. The kid sat down beside him and threw an arm trembling with excitement round his shoulders. The guards looking the other way. They won't miss us till they get to the truck. Come on, Skinny, he said in a low, quiet voice. You remember that the kid had told Andrews that they could escape together.
Yeah.
And of course, this is the opportunity. And that's why Andrews felt this terror, yes, because he wanted to escape, but at the same time, he remembered when he was caught by the MPs and they caught him and they hit him and the way they treated him. And so he felt terror at the idea, no? Holding on to the plank, he let himself down into the speeding water. Andrew slipped after him, hardly knowing what he was doing. The icy water closing about his body made him suddenly feel awake and vigorous. As he was swept by the big rudder of the barge, he caught hold of the kid, who was holding on to a rope. They worked their way without speaking round to the outer side of the rudder. The swift river, tugging savagely at them, made it hard to hold on. Now they can't see us, said the kid between clenched teeth. Can you work your shoes and pants off? Andrew started struggling with one boot, the kid helping to hold him up with his free hand. Mine are off, he said. I was all fixed, he laughed, though his teeth were chattering because the water was icy, yes? Yeah. All right, I've broken the laces, said Andrews. Can you swim underwater? Andrews nodded. We want to make for that bunch of barges the other side of the bridge. The barge people hide us. How do you know they will? The kid had disappeared. So you see, they jumped into the water, but their plan was not, I mean, very organized. The kid was the one who had the plan. No?
Yes,
I
and
don't
he was
understand.
very hurry. He was hurry up for escaping without finishing to deal about it.
You mean that Andrews followed the kid but didn't know the plan exactly? That's what you mean?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, but it is not ridiculous that at the end of the war, his case is not a case terrible. Why become a deserter? And that is
Well,
crazy.
Yes, it is crazy, but he was.
His attitude is a little crazy, no? Isn't it?
And also because he felt that he could not stand the humiliation more. Yes, that it
Yes,
has
but
been too
well,
much. And so, I mean, and he follows the boy. Yes, it's like
yes, but
in an impulse, no?
the consequences, his
Well, the
situation.
consequences could be terrible because they could be shot.
Yes.
Yes, they could be killed as deserters. Well, but he has already done it, and so he had to swim. Andrews hesitated a moment, then let go his hold and started swimming with the current for all his might. At first, he felt strong and exultant, but very soon he began to feel the icy grip of the water bearing him down. His arms and legs seemed to stiffen. More than against the water, he was struggling against paralysis within him, so that he thought that every moment his limbs would go rigid. He came to the surface and gasped for air. He had a second's glimpse of figures, tiny like toy soldiers, gesticulating wildly on the deck of the barge. The report of a rifle snapped through the air. So you see, somebody is shooting at them. Yes. He dove again without thinking, as if his body were working independently of his mind. The next time he came up, his eyes were blurred from the cold. There was a taste of blood in his mouth. The shadow of the bridge was just above him. He turned on his back for a second. There were lights on the bridge. A current swept him past one barge and then another. Certainty possessed him that he was going to be drowned. A voice seemed to sob in his ears grotesquely. And so John Andrews was drowned in the Seine. Then he was kicking and fighting in a furious rage against the coils about him that wanted to drag him down and away. The black side of the barge was slipping upstream beside him with lightning speed. How fast those barges go, he thought. Then suddenly he found that he had hold of a rope, that his shoulders were banging against the bow of a small boat, while in front of him, against the dull purple sky, towered the rudder of the barge. A strong, warm hand grasped his shoulder from behind, and he was being drawn up and up over the bow of the boat that hurt his numbed body like blows, out of the clutching coils of the water. Hide me, I'm a deserter, he said over and over in French. A brown and red face with a bristly white beard, a bulbous, mullion sort of face, hovered over him in the middle of a pinkish mist. So he was rescued by one of the sailors, no, in the barge. But I mean, this is very tragic, and you've noticed the difference of style, no, going from all the descriptions and the romantic ideas, etc. Suddenly, yes, after he is caught, the rhythm accelerates, and we have actions all the time, yes, moving forward the action. Okay, so when he wakes up, there are women surrounding him. Women's voices were shrilling behind the mist. A coverlet that felt soft and fuzzy against his skin was being put about him. He was very warm and torpid, but somewhere in his thoughts, a black, crawling thing like a spider was trying to reach him, trying to work its way through the pinkish veils of torpor. After a long while, he managed to roll over and looked about him. And the woman, the French woman, tells him to be quiet. And the other one, did you see the other one? He asked in a choked whisper. Because he's worried about the boy, the kid. The kid, you remember that he said that there was blood in the water. And there was a shot from the coast. So most probably they hit the boy. Yes. Well, and the woman doesn't understand him, and she says, it's all right, I'm drying it by the stove, talking about the clothes. Mama's drying your money by the stove. It's all safe. How rich they are, these Americans, because together with his clothes, he had his money. And to think that I nearly threw it overboard with the trousers, said the other woman again. John Andrews began to look about him. He was in a dark, low cabin. Behind him, in the direction of the voices, a yellow light flickered. Great disheveled shadows of head moved about on the ceiling. Through the close smell of the cabin came a warmth of food cooking. He could hear the soothing hiss of frying grease. But didn't you see the kid? He asked in English. There was another one with me. We saw no one. Rosalind asked the old man. No, he didn't see anyone. So, obviously, the kid had disappeared, yes? Well, these women gave him food, gave him also clothes, and of course, charged him for it, yes? He has to pay for the food, etc., etc. And he's already on the barge, no? Going somewhere. He's going to ask where. All three looked at him silently for some time. Then the old man pulled a newspaper out of his pocket, unfolded it carefully, and fluttered it above Andrews' eyes. In the scant light, Andrews made out the name, Liberter. That's why, said the old man, looking at Andrews fixedly through his spectacles. I'm a sort of socialist, said Andrews. Socialists are good for nothing, snarled the old man, every red protrusion on his face seeming to get redder. But I have great sympathy for anarchist comrades, went on Andrews, because the man, the sailor was an anarchist.
Tiene que acomodarse.
Claro, and you know that socialists and anarchists didn't get on well.
No.
So he said, okay, I have a great sympathy for anarchist comrades. Went on Andrews, feeling a certain liveliness of amusement go through him and fade again. Lucky you caught hold of my rope instead of getting on to the next barge. He'd have given you up for sure. Because the other boat, he was caught by this man. But the man says that if he had been caught by the other boat, they are royalists, so they would have given him up. Malena looks like this.
Yes, maybe if he was caught by the other barge, he was shot or
sent to the authorities.
Yes,
given back to the authorities. That is the idea, no? That they if they found somebody, they had to give him in. Claro. But he is an anarchist, no? So he's not going to. Me da risa. Well, we must give him something to eat. Hurry, Mama. Don't worry, he'll pay, won't you, my little American? So he's going to pay for the food, etc. Andrews nodded his head. All you want, he said. No, if he says he's a comrade, he shan't pay, not a soul. growled the old man. We'll see about that, cried the old woman. Yes, she wants him to pay. It's only that living's so dear nowadays, came the girl's voice. Oh, I'll pay anything I've got, said Andrews peevishly, closing his eyes again. He lay a long while on his back without moving. A hand shoved in between his back and the pillow roused him. He sat up. Rosalind was holding a bowl of broth in front of him that steamed in his face. Manger, she said. He looked into her eyes, smiling. Her rusty hair was neatly combed. A bright green parrot with a scarlet splash in its wings balanced itself unsteadily on her shoulder, looking at Andrews out of angry eyes, hard as gems. So the parrot is Coco, yes, or Coco. So, well, the girl gives him the food, they talk. This girl is very simple. She's a sailor's daughter, yes, and she tells him that the parrot has learned only one thing. And what does he say? Asked Andrews. And the girl, le bourgeois la lanterne, nom de Dieu. So an insult against the bourgeoisie. So that was the teaching that that the parrot has received, not to insult the bourgeoisie. So then they eat. She gives him a brown stew of potatoes and meat. Andrews ate it mechanically and handed back the bowl. Thank you, he said. I am going to sleep. So he, of course, he's exhausted. He goes to sleep again. And then when he woke up, the light was gray instead of yellow, and a swishing sound puzzled him. He lay listening to it for a long time, wondering what it was. At last, the thought came with a sudden warm spurt of joy that the barge must be moving. He lay very quietly on his back, looking up at the faint silvery light on the ceiling of the bunk, thinking of nothing, with only a vague dread in the back of his head that someone would come to speak to him to question him. After a long time, he began to think of Genevieve Rodd. He was having a long conversation with her about his music, and in his imagination, she kept telling him that he must finish The Queen of Sheba, and that she would show it to Monsieur Gibier, who was a great friend of a certain concert director who might get it played. How long ago it must be since they had talked about that? A picture floated through his mind of himself and Genevieve standing shoulder to shoulder, looking at the cathedral at Chartres. Well, this was the moment when he was caught.
Yes.
That
yes.
was when he was caught.
Because he was in Chartres without documentation.
Without
nothing.
Exactly. Another mistake, because he could have asked for the permission.
Yes.
He went there without any papers, and so well that was.
Yes, it's a crazy behavior.
Completely. Yes.
Yes.
Well,
he's looking for a disaster.
Yes. Psychologically speaking, he seemed to be looking for it, no, doing everything to end in a bad. Yes.
By the way.
In a bad way, no. Then inexorably his memory carried him forward moment by moment over that day until he writhed with shame and revolt. Good God, would he have to go on all his life remembering that? Teach him how to salute. You remember when he was caught, this is the phrase that the officer says, and at that moment he receives the blow. We tied up the uniform with some stones and threw it overboard, said Rosalind, jabbing him in the shoulder to draw his attention. That was a good idea. Are you going to get up? It's nearly time to eat. How you have slept. But I haven't anything to put on, said Andrews, laughing, and waved a bare arm above the bedclothes. Wait, I'll find something of the old man's. Say, do all Americans have skin so white as that? Look. The girl is, in a way, attracted, no, by him. She put her brown hand with its grimed and broken nails on Andrew's arm that was white with a few silky yellow hairs. It's because I'm blonde, said Andrews. There are plenty of blonde Frenchmen, aren't there? Rosalind ran off giggling and came back in a moment with a pair of corduroy trousers and a torn flannel shirt that smelled of pipe tobacco. That'll do for now, she said. It's warm today for April. Tonight, we'll buy you some clothes and shoes. Where are you going? By God, I don't know. We are going to Havre for cargo. I also sent you the map. Yes, they are going to Havre, which is on the north. So, oh, my hair. Yes?
It's a port, no?
It's a port,
Puerto?
yes.
It's a port,
It's
yeah.
a port
Yes.
in the north of France.
Yeah.
Yes, but there is a problem with the word because Havre in French is Puerto, but the city is also called Le Havre,
Yes,
Puerto.
Puerto.
But there are many Havres, but this Havre with the capital letter is the city of Brittany.
Claro,
Go
it
ahead.
is Brittany. Yes, exactly. Yes,
Mhm.
that's why it is in the north. So the girl says, oh, my hair, it's the water, you know, you can't keep respectable looking on these filthy barges. Say, American, why don't you stay with us a while? You can help the old man run the boat. He found suddenly that her eyes were looking into his with trembling eagerness. Yes, the girl is attracted by him, undoubtedly. I don't know what to do, he said carelessly. I wonder if it's safe to go on deck. She turned away from him petulantly and led the way up the ladder. Hola, camarade, cried the old man, who was leaning with all his might against the long tiller of the barge. Come and help me. The barge was the last of a string of 4 that were describing a wide curve in the midst of a reach of silvery river full of glittering patches of pale pea-green lavender, hemmed in on either side by frail blue rows of poplars. See how, again, the colors and the description